Big cap, Don Marino, heavy sombrero. He lack knowledge, I bet he a scarecrow. Something deadly a Edo. If it ring, get low, rider, and he go
But we was never friends. Show up to Harlem looking for your crib. You better let me in. Masked up, gloves on. I work in medicine. Show up to deluxe apartment in disguise like the Jeffersons.
Not to get shot with the cannon. I gotta do you, send a shot into you. This is black love, brown pride. Shaka Zulu meets Montezuma. It wouldn't be.
You know what? Sometimes it just spreads a wildfire and it makes people want to do positive things. And I feel like, yeah, it's extremely important to keep a positive outlook on the battle rap media stuff. And one of the best things about it, man, and why I have like high hopes for you in it is because, you know, like you said, everyone does their recaps, everyone does their, you know, predictions and stuff like the cookie cutter battle rap stuff. But what really pops in YouTube is like personality. So I feel like you have the personality for it as well, man. Like it's like a good feeling that you get when you watch somebody talk. So it's not even that much about what they're talking about, even though it might be just as intriguing, but it's like the personality that takes you a long way too, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
I appreciate that.
You're enthusiastic as fuck when it comes to battle rap, and I as an artist love it because I'm also I'm a diehard fucking psychotic fan.
Right.
I'm a crazy ass battle fan, and that's why I want to pick your brain about like starting the YouTube because it's interesting to go from being a fan of something to actually partaking in something, right? Because to me, to this day, you know, I'm 9-10 years into on-camera battle rap. I'm still shocked that I play the part that I play in as an artist because I'm still such a fan of it. You know, I'm such a fan of it. It still like blows my mind. So like, do you is it a weird thing? Is it a weird thing that you're like going head on into the, you know what I'm saying? Is it weird?
Yes and no. I mean, it's weird obviously because like, you know, it's seeing something up front when you like kind of said that you're gonna do it and it actually happening is always kind of like, you know, weird. But I don't know if it's too weird in that because like I've always expected to like do this. It's just the timing, right? And just having the platform to kind of spawn things. I kind of just felt like, you know, coming off the heels of like the COTY panel and, you know what I'm saying, like that being a huge platform and the whole world watching, I figured like there's no better time. And really it pretty much permitted me to like just go on and just do the YouTube channel. Like a lot of times we kind of talk ourselves out of doing stuff because we don't feel like we have the biggest following.
Oh, dude.
We don't feel like we can't do something at a high level, so we kind of talk ourselves out of doing it.
In life, every day.
Yeah. But when I like finally like said, you know what, I'm going to be the highest donator, I'm going to go on this panel, I was just like, there's no backing out now, because now not only is your words going to be put under a microscope, but now you have a lot of eyes on you. So now you have to do your best in retaining everybody that's watching. So
100%. Were you nervous?
So I was nervous, not because of like having claims or whatever, because the talk that me and many other panelists have is the same talks I have with people outside of like the panel or whatever. This
right,
is the same
lunchroom table, like diehard discussions with fans. Yeah,
but it's the matter of like, you know, because the stuff that you say outside of like, you know, the panel can be a little bit more spicy, a little bit more,
of course,
but
100%.
You know, I just think with like my background in like school and like knowing how to like using the right word choice and stuff like that, and also like knowing what I'm talking about and being super informed was always going to help me, you know what I'm saying? So I never really was too worried because, you know, I knew what I was talking about.
Right.
The thing I was worried about was just how like the battlers will receive it, because even if you're like the most respectful person in the world, it can come off as slander. Like I said, we live in a toxic culture, so anything that you say can be used against you, and it can be seen from like a negative light, even if it didn't like spawn from that.
That's the tough part about it for artists sometimes, right? Because there are so many guys that are automatically on the defense that things that don't, you know, that don't have ill intent come off as ill intent to them when it's really not. So, and that goes to how important it is for you to spread positivity. I feel like the more positivity there is in battle rap, the better everybody feels, because a lot of people don't understand, you know, like battle rappers still, we're all trying to make it too. You know what I'm saying? Like, not everybody's like a bunch of millionaires. So it's like, sometimes you be having a bad day. It's like, bro, why are you even shitting on me? I'm like, I'm not even where I want to be yet in my life. And you're, you know what I'm saying? You're already, you know, hating on it. But dude, the more positivity, the better, man. The more positivity, the better. And it's dope that you weren't nervous, bro. You know, cameras are fucking everything, man. Sometimes I used to be nervous when I did this show. When I used to do Battle Rap 101, I used to feel like I was about to fucking battle, like chugging down water, like right before it comes on. Nervous as hell.
The only thing that made me nervous was just like I said, the reception of the battlers, and then it's just like there were so many like tremendous battle rap minds in that room. Like, you're talking about Jay Black, you're talking about France, you're talking about Tony Bro, like guys
France is a computer, man.
Like guys that, like, I've never seen somebody like Tony Bro like break down a battle off of first watch in such a articulate way. You know what I'm saying? So
it's
like
a skill.
Standing across from that or whatever I had a little bit of nerves in that regard, but I still kept reminding myself, like, bro, you know what you're talking about. You've been watching battle rap for over 10 years, and you know what I'm saying, you know the art form as much as anybody else does as a consumer. Obviously it's different as a rapper, I know that. But
yeah, in a way, but there's still so many similarities, because at the end of the day, like, most of us are still we're just fans, man. We love it. And Tony, man, Tony's the closest to a perfect judge I feel like we've ever gotten, as far as like the Ultimate Madness tournaments, and just the conversations that I've had with him, man. That dude knows his stuff, man. And it's good to meet people that know their stuff too, for real. I feel like it inspires you to go back and forth. And Jay Black, man, the OG as always, bro. Jay Black has done, dude, champion's done a lot, bro. I feel like sometimes the culture don't, you know, we don't look up every now and then and acknowledge what's going on. And sometimes, you know, things have been years in to where we're not even talking about it. But if I look up, man, you know, the impact that Champion of the Year has had, and just Champion and Jay Black in general, is incredible, man. It's absolutely incredible. It's wild for, like, you know, for everybody to be as successful as they are. And what's the first thing we talk about? Champion of the Year. Who's gonna get the belt? Who's gonna get this? Who's gonna get that? It's dope. I would love to be on that panel, man. I'm jealous of you, bro. That was quite the experience.
It was most definitely a lot of pressure. And then back to like the Champion thing, is just like, Champion has been around since, well, Black has been working on it since like 2015, 2016, because they had like a pre-arc of that prior with like just like him unionizing like him and other bloggers. But like in terms of like the actual imprint of Champion, it's been around since 2017, and you could literally see the lineage of competition like increasing as like Champion has been around, because like they're actually like putting they're holding battlers accountable, right? Because like, you have bloggers that kind of like, you know what I'm saying, say if someone lost or whatever, like you had like Angry Fan, Jay Black, Chris Bias, and all those guys like making those critiques, right? Yeah. But when you're doing it in like a more, I don't want to say like they weren't official, but like Champion kind of creates a caricature of like a official platform. You know what I'm saying? Like in terms of like it being like our version of ESPN. When you do it with like that much stakes, I feel like it just pushed battlers to like, I mean, how many bars we heard about Champion over the past like 5 years? Oh, dude, yeah, I got like 3 of them. Right. I got like 3 of them. Yeah. So I feel like Champion and, you know what I'm saying, Champion of the Year really, really pushed battlers to be competitive again, because I'm telling you, prior to 2016, like we were starting to run out of matchups. Battlers was just battling just because like there wasn't any incentive. When Champion came around, the incentive and like the hunger came back, not just from like the up and comers, but from like some of these top tier dudes. Like I'm gonna keep it honest. 100%. I seen K Shine reinvigorate his career and kick it to a second gear. I've seen, like, you know what I'm saying, like a bunch of top tier battlers reinvigorate their career and like brought their hunger back. Yeah. And you can say it's because of Champion. So. Yeah. No, I think you can. I think you can. And you know what's crazy? I feel like it started with Champion of the Night.
You remember when that was before Champion came about. J Black kind of started with the Champion of the Night, and there were people, you know, I was sure on cards where I knew, and I think it was, I don't know how long that lasted. I think it was just for 1 year.
It was 2018. The first Champion of the Night was Mr. Wavy won it on the Survivor Series card, versus Twerk. So
Versus Twerk. Oh wow, yeah. And then I think B Dot took Champion of the Night when I battled him on the I think it was the initiation card in LA. But I feel like that gave a lot of incentive, and maybe not, you know, when I was preparing for B Dot, I don't know if you know, and nor do I do this with Champion of the Year. Like, you don't really necessarily have it in the back of your head, but I definitely think there's like a subconscious part of me that knew, like, okay, also if I'm the best performer, I can get this bonus. So maybe it lights a fire where I stay up a couple extra hours that one night where I should have went to, you know, where I want to go to bed. Maybe I'll stay up a little bit because I don't know, man, if I get this Champion of the Night thing, this is a nice bonus. I can only imagine how much deeper that goes with every artist on all platforms when they look at the grand scheme of things of Champion of the Year. A lot of people go through their whole career and say, all right, what could I do this to get closer and closer and closer? And like you said, you know, not saying that Angry Fan and Chris Unbiased and all this stuff weren't official, but we needed some professionalism. We needed an ESPN. We needed a, you know what I mean, First Take type thing. We definitely did. And it added a lot of professionalism. I think that and the app, even though I disagree with a few things on the app, I think that really took it to the next level where it was real. It was very real. You smirked on the URL app.
Yeah, man.
It's not.
So I was very, very, very skeptical of the app, the whole rollout and everything. I remember the first thing that was on the app was Twerk versus Nitty, if anybody remembers. And
wow, it was Twerk versus Nitty.
That was the first thing on the app, because you remember when, like, in Smack Volume 3, they released every battle on YouTube, and well, that was around the time period it was Watch Battle Live. So in order for you to watch the battles, you had to, like, you know, watch the VOD.
Yeah,
but
the VOD,
eventually, months later, they would release, like, the battles on YouTube. That was the one battle they didn't release on YouTube, and everybody was like, "Why they haven't released this yet?" Like, we've heard about Nitty's crazy second, heard about Twerk's crazy first.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, they have an app, and, like, now that's our way of, like, watching battles. Which I do like the idea of having, like, a cult audience, because I feel like the people that do pay for the app are legitimate supporters. So I do like that aspect. I do. I feel like there's a little bit something special there in terms of, like, I paid this amount for this for each month, and I get to watch this exclusive content. I love that part. The part I don't like is that I feel like we kind of live in a time period where, yes, now we can kind of, like, have, like, judging or whatever in terms of, like, who won and lost. But I do think that, like, everything is microwave now, to where everybody judges off of first watch or second watch instead of, like, letting it die. Because back then we used to watch battles for months. And we used to change who we thought won. Now it's just like, if they won in the building, it's very hard for someone to win on the app unless, like, you know, whatever. But for the most part, it just seems to me that, like, not all people, because I feel like you still have that core audience that are still, like, you know, I don't want to say traditionalists, but, like, still kind of have, like, some of the ideals of, like, watching battle rap. But for the most part, I feel like with the app, it has a way of, like, microwaving some of the content and stuff like that in terms of, like, us and how we digest the battles. Because there's been plenty of battles where I thought were a lot closer, but, you know, the perception in the building kind of filtered over into the app, and some of the people that didn't watch Caffeine Live are hearing some of the stuff that's happening during the Caffeine Live and having that same type of, like, perception going into the battle before they even see, like, who's rapping. So I mean, dude, I liked the exclusive, you know, the exclusivity of it in a way, because it is our Netflix, and, you know, at the end of the day, there are some battle rappers that don't like it because they miss the YouTube drops and the stuff like that. But I feel like as long as you're compensated financially as a battle rapper, then it's really not that much of a deal. I think everyone would love something, you know, all of their material and all of their work to be 100% accessible to the world.
So, you know, sometimes every now and then I'll be like, yeah, man, I could really go for a YouTube drop right now. But then, you know, you see just, you know, if as long as the business aspect is right, then it's completely fine. The votes, man, dude, I hate them all. I've been very vocal about that. And I love caffeine. I love URL. But I want them to kill the caffeine votes. I want them to kill the URL votes.
I don't really want them to kill the votes. I would just like, I wish there was a thing where like they can monitor how many times somebody watched the battle before they vote. That would.
Well, that for me is the incentive, like, of killing. I don't know. I mean, yeah,
because they microwave the it's like they're only watching it once. And my thing is, I said this on Caffeine one time. I was like, there's no way you're gonna digest like Kid Chaos versus Chilla off of 1 or 2 watches.
No,
there's no way you're
gonna
do that.
No way at all.
I don't like vote until like my 3rd or 4th watch. If
really,
that. I really don't.
And I'm talking like just the live, like when the battle ends and they put the comment of the one battler and the other battler. I don't care for it because I think it holds too much weight. It holds way too much weight. I think the URL app votes are the same thing. It holds way too much weight, and it kills, to me, the art of a debate. It kills the art of a debate because, you know, you can easily just look at a record and brush off a person instead of actually like going hard for that person. So I feel like sometimes even when it gets to something important like Champion of the Year, right, it's hard to you know, do you even argue for somebody if it says they're 0-2 or if it says they lost this battle and they lost, like, how much strength do you have in something when there is an invisible, you know, verdict for it, where you know, this battle rap is so subjective. Obviously there's clear wins, man. If you get your ass kicked, you get your ass kicked,
right?
Sometimes, you know, there's a few battles out there that you look crazy if you gave the other guy the win. But yeah, man, get it out of here, dude. And mostly because I'm 5-9, dude. 5-9, bro. I started like 4-0.
Yeah.
Like,
the culture is changing, for better, and I wouldn't say worse. I feel like change is always positive to a degree. But I do feel like, you know, even just the way how people consume just battles now are different. Like, somebody could, like, back then, I mean, there were moments back then where like somebody had a moment and it overshadowed the rest of the battle or whatever. But we would still say somebody won, but that person had a moment. Now it's just like, if you have a moment that's able to overshadow the entire battle,
you can steal everything.
Winner. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? So I'm old fashioned. Like, I go by rounds. I never win by moments. Yes, you can have like the best moment of the battle, but I'm still looking at the content holistically. And it's like, I'm not giving somebody a battle because they had like an incredible moment in their second, but like their first and third was, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't do that.
Yeah, no, you can't. You can't. And it, you know, the biggest reason is because it just doesn't make sense. You know, that's not how it works. If someone wins 2 rounds, you can't just give it to some. But then sometimes, you know, the shock value of things. Me and Danny Myers is an extremely close battle. An extremely close battle. You want to take a look at the votes?
Right.
It got me winning by like 300,000 air horns or vuvuzelas, like whatever the hell those are. But that battle is extremely close, but it just takes that one, well, not a moment, but it was a whole round. But like, yeah, sometimes like even, you know, T-Top and Rum Nitty is a good example too.
Right.
You know, T-Top's Walmart scheme might have, you know, is like the KO where it's like there's not even a debate for it. But really,
to say that he won the first round, right? They're like, they're revising like what their initial thoughts were. Like, T-Top at his third, so I'm gonna go back and see if he really lost the first.
Maybe he did. Yeah,
right.
And I think that goes, you know, a lot of people don't like going against the grain, man. And sometimes publicly that doesn't help either. No one wants to go against the grain publicly. So I think when, you know, stuff like that works, I think it's still like that. I think moments didn't really take away from people's wins back then. I think it took away more now. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, there is, I wouldn't say there's like negatives with the growth, but there's certainly things that have changed, and maybe we'll learn to filter it and, you know, mold it and make it what it is. So it's like, all right, maybe we don't do this anymore, but let's at least work on what the new thing is. And I think the records and just, you know, certain discussion, like certain talking points could probably be changed. I wanted to ask you a question about Champion of the Year, and I didn't want to put you in a hot seat, but I love you on a hot seat. And maybe I missed the description for it because I didn't watch enough of it to truly pick it apart and you know, discredit anything. But I wanted to ask, strength of schedule, right? And this is I'm truly intrigued by it.
Okay.
Was strength of schedule defined? Was there a definition for strength of schedule?
Yeah, but like at the same time, like, you know what I'm saying, even when it's defined, there's still certain things that are subjective even with that. Because like, so for me, the way I see it, it's like, and I think Jay Black did it perfectly in 2020 for the 2020 year when he was talking about strength of schedule and the having the name and their performance next to each other. So like he said that, like, let's say like somebody like a Pat Stay, right? Like he is like a 8 or 9 as a name. His performance against K Shine probably filter out at like a 2 or 3 or whatever.
Right.
You average that out, his overall performance is like middle of the road, right? So like not that great. That's kind of how I look at it. So I don't like so when people look at strength of schedule, some of us did this and some of us didn't, but like strength of schedule to some people just meant the name by itself. I don't do that because I know there's plenty of big names that
shit the bed,
given their best. You know what I'm saying?
They shit the bed. Yeah.
For me, it's like I'm going to value like a perfect person I was talking about was Matt Flex in the season, right? I said I was going to value that even though he had like a few up and comers, a few mid tiers or whatever, those up and comers and mid tiers had their best performance against him. So when he's going against like a Fate or a Stewie Newton or a Bobby Lee, even though their names are not that big, it still holds weight that like, they're giving him their best performance. Yeah. So 100. In terms of strength of schedule, I look at not only the name, but I also look at what they brought or whatever. So yeah, I felt like that needed to be like more specific because it wasn't like I felt like there were some people, like you said, that took it one way and then they took it the other, and I feel like it was such a vague thing that's what people had to do. They had to make their own definition as far as what strength of schedule was. For me, and I like that you said you do a combination of both, because my question, like my interest in it was, well, which one is it? Is it the on paper? Is it what this person has done? Or is it what that person actually did present time when he's up there? And another aspect I had was just I use this metric as well too. Me and friends kind of used it a little bit, like how many of these people are in the conversation of top 20. So like I will look at somebody's resume, right, and I'll say like, people will say like, oh well, you know what I'm saying, like somebody like DNA, for example. DNA, he's really pissed at his spot. I can understand why, because it's like out of what did he get? He got 7. He wanted to be a little bit higher. Oh, come on. But I can see why, because like I feel like we didn't really highlight his strength, because him, Sick, and a couple other people had a really, really tough schedule. Because when you really look at DNA's year, he had Geechi, who ended up winning. He had B-Dot, who's top 15. He had Af, who's top 15. And he had Real Sick, who was top 10. So 4 out of his 5 people that he faced were top 20 contenders. That's and then King Los gave him his best. King Los gave him his best performance up to date. I feel like the King Los that showed up in DNA was like the best King Los we've seen. So I can understand like his frustration, because he feels like he's had like wars all year. I can understand that. So yeah, I also used the metric of like, okay, this guy was great, but is he even in like the top 20 contention? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, there's a million. I guess that's the crazy part about it. There's a million things that factor in. That's why I respect, anybody that was on that panel, because at the end of the day, we're all working with imaginary numbers. We're all working with completely subjective things, and it's really hard, especially for an entire group of people, to put them all together. Shout out to them, man. DNA, he was mad about 7. Dude, I'm like, the best advice for me is just to have 2 dope battles and then 1 trash one, and then you don't have to be mad because you're not on the top 20. Just avoid it all together, bro. Avoid it all together. There's a couple people that were mad. Did you receive any like actual backlash? Like, was someone like, man, fucking Lang guy? I didn't know what he was talking about. Not personal backlash, but like I did hear like rumblings when I said Surf was outside of the top 5. and he hasn't responded. So I don't think that it was that bad of a statement. I think that it's a controversy because I was comparing his year to A-Ward's. And I feel like that was kind of where like because you got it's storylines, like they were pretty much feuding before Champion of the Year happened. So for me to like pair them next to each other during the Champion of the Year discussion, obviously it's like poetic justice or whatever.
Of course.
But when I was saying that, like, and Real Six mentioned this on Low show the other day, he said that like when we bring up a statement, people already have like their preconceived notions of what something is. But like when you really and I said this millions of times, when you really use the criteria and compare it to like another person, it's a lot closer. Closer. So when I say that like Surf wasn't top 5, that sounds like disrespect because it's like they're looking at the number.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not looking at like that person relative to the other people that's above them. So like when people feel like they got snubbed or they should have been higher, I said, fine, you're upset with the number, but can you honestly be upset with like the people that are above you? Now I know there's certain people that you could be upset about, but in the grand scheme of things, it's like you being 10, that means that there was a conversation between you and 9 other guys that had great years too.
Right.
So,
And then also it's like, you know, if you're making the list, dude, there's 60,000 battle rappers, man. There's tens and thousands of battle rappers in the world. So it's like, I understand, but it's a little ego trip on our part as far as the artist when you're mad about a number, because it's crazy to even be, like considered a top 10 or considered a top 20 for an entire year. It's wild.
A lot of these lists are, and a lot of these people were so close from somebody that was at 10 could have been at 7. Somebody at 7 could have been like, it's so close.
And that's
like,
what I said. Yeah. And that's what I said about too. I'm like, I feel like the first 14 people, 13 people can be, anywhere on each other. I feel like it's hard to you could scramble because 20's a lot to tie in. Did you agree with the decision? Did you agree with Geechi Gotti as being Champion of the Year?
So it's because I know a lot of people didn't follow it. They just see the end result. So we actually did criteria between Eazy and Geechi. And I know you don't agree. So we can chop that up a little bit. I've been waiting for this.
I say,
But so the crazy thing is like, so there's 6 categories in criteria. There's strength of schedule, consistency, performance, impact. What's the last 2? Material, and I'm forgetting the last one. Anyway, there's 6 categories in criteria, right? They ended up splitting the criteria, so it was 3 and 3. So what we had to do was we had to go around the table and give our individual like winner of like, or number 1 spot for Champion of the Year. So it was a lot. Like I know people only see the end result and they felt like the whole room was saying Geechi, but when we were doing the criteria, they were literally split. So it literally came down to like who we thought was Champion of the Year, and the majority thought Geechi was Champion of the Year. So that's how it ended up. I also had Geechi. I feel like it was very close because I feel like impact. You think the impact is like straight away to Eazy. I feel like it's a lot closer because while Eazy most definitely had like Battle of the Nights and was like the talk of the town as the newcomer or whatever, I still feel like Geechi's win over Lux shifted the culture. I feel like him having like one of the best tournament battles in shifted the culture. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like there are certain things that you can kind of dispute in terms of impact, right? That's where subjectivity comes into play.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, and it also depends on what do you like, is it impact just in the battles themselves? For me, man, like for me, when I look at, when I look at Geechi versus Lux, man, I do this with all battles, man. I really try to strip the names away. I try to strip the names away, and I like to focus the most I possibly can on how good were you when you were on that stage. So for me, I feel like Geechi beating Lux is a gigantic thing. First of all, Geechi versus Lux didn't even make sense for me because you don't see that, or you don't ever think you're going to see that. Just the way Eazy versus Mook was announced, you don't think Loaded Lux is ever going to step down and battle somebody that, not step down, but you know what I'm saying. All of these guys usually battle people that they came up with, right? Lux is usually battling people that came around the same time as him. Mook is like the same. No one's really testing the new era guys and stuff like that. So it was it was weird to even see the battle in the beginning, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Like for me, there's not that much impact to it because I didn't think his material had that much impact. You know what I mean? Maybe the beating of Loaded Lux, yeah, okay, like that's incredible because Loaded Lux is one of the greatest, you know, to ever do it. And with Impact, man, dude, I mean, Eazy starting off the year with that record. I mean, that changed a lot of shit. That made a huge shift. And then I don't know, do you count Peacock TV? Do you count him on the Fresh Prince? Fresh Prince, or do you?
I'm more or less counted the top tier disc more than like that, because like that's
Top
still
tier.
within. I'm gonna say that was still within the realm of the culture. You know what I'm saying? So like, and like I said, like they split criteria, so it's not like it was that clear cut. It's
Here's like this is how I did it, because I don't know, like I can't, like, for me, I can't go off criteria because one, I wasn't on the panel, so like I really am not that seasoned as far as how it goes.
Right.
But for me, man, it's like I see Geechi, and I looked at Geechi's year the same way I looked at Ward's, right? Eazy, the block captain's end, you have 4 absolute knockouts, right? You have 450-foot home runs over the fucking stadium. Him and Chess was a close battle, but it was one of the greatest battles ever. So I feel like you had 4 perfect performances. I feel like he brought 3 rounds every single time. It was just a knockout performance. Like every quarter of the year, he came out with an unbelievable performance. The difference between Eazy and Ward and Geechi's to me is if you gather the dope performances or the great performances for Geechi, right, for the year, and you gather all the performances from A Ward, all those performances, all those okay performances, they eventually add up and they wither away. Because for me, having 15-20 battles in a year, I feel like that hurts champion of the year specifically, because I feel like it's just, there's just some, and for me, man, Geechi took L's for me. Like, to me, Geechi lost to Calico. For me, he lost to A Ward. I thought he took clear losses, and it's just like, I don't know, man. I feel like Eazy had, even though that year's that year, I feel like Eazy had O-Red's year just a little fucking better, man. I thought he had, dude, like I said, man, it takes away from nobody's decisions at all.
Right.
But I just felt like, it was.
Nah, it's most definitely close. I feel like Geechi. So, and this was a conversation that we had off air. Us and the panelists was talking about, like, you know, what is going to be prioritized, right? Because you have like. And this is one thing I just want to clear up. It's like I don't want people to feel like there's a battle between quality and quantity, because the thing is, it's like, while obviously, like, you know what I'm saying, Eazy is heavy in quality. Like, I feel like he had the best material all year. In my humble opinion, I feel like he had the best material all year in terms of like each round, right? Yeah. But I do think that there is merit in somebody like a Geechi who can have good showings but still be so active. You got to think, like, him going through the entire tournament. He went through this, like, I'm putting it in perspective. There's people that do the tournament and only have like 2 battles before and after that or whatever. Geechi did the tournament and still had like over 6 to 7 battles after the tournament. That's incredible work ethic. And then you can then you can say, like, he did have some showings that weren't like up to like his standard. Like, you know, when you're great, sometimes, like, if you're great and, like, let's say him or Nitty gives you like a 7 or 8, it can look like a 4 or 5 just because, like, we're expecting more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So but like with somebody like a Geechi who, like I said, like, stood the course in the tournament, made it to the finals, won the tournament, right? Then have Lux after that, and then prior to the tournament, he had Math and DNA. Yeah. I feel like he was still having heavy hitters outside of just that tournament. I understand what you're saying. I do. That the only issue that I have with that is the fact that Geechi, you know, he gets a lot of battles, man. He gets a lot of battles. So I feel like he's always going to be in the mix because he's always the main event. He's always a high level. There's always someone huge standing across from him. The lights are always brightest when it's on him. So it's almost impossible for Geechi to not be in the conversation for champion of the year every year. Because if he's a consistent,
you know, and he's a workhorse, dude. His work ethic is insane. Absolutely. From an artist, dude, the most battles I ever had in a year was 6, and it was the most stressful shit I ever had. Like, dude, having a battle like 1 month and then having it the next month, it blew my mind. And Geechi is the type that could just run through that, and he has decent quality, you know, stuff. I just feel like with Champion of the Year, man, so many of those okay performances add up against somebody that's just, you know, was just like perfect for the year. But I'm interested, dude. It's all amazing.
We all mentioned how much the conversation would have been different if like Eazy had a battle move.
I hate that.
I'm about to say like I'm gonna be completely honest. Like the same thing you're talking about in terms of like, you know what I'm saying, a perfect year as opposed to like a year that has a abundance of moments but still have like some slight you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if Eazy had got Mook, that would have canceled out what Geechi did to Lux. So at that point, you're just looking at like, okay, now you're just looking at the years or whatever, and like, while Geechi has the tournament or whatever, you still like, I'm not gonna front. I valued the Eazy's performance against Chess more than Geechi's tournament run. Not to dismiss it.
100%.
Nor to devalue it. But while I do commend him for the great tournament run he had into the finals, there's something that is like him and Chess was once in a lifetime.
Him and Chess is one of the greatest battles.
How big the battle is.
It's one of the best battles ever, man. That's one of the best battles I've ever seen, man. Seriously, Eazy and Chess. You were in the building. Whew, that was I mean, to see it on camera, bro, it's just one of the craziest battles I've ever seen. Ever. And yeah, man, I mean, dude, like I said, bro, this is all it's so hard to make something definitive in something that's just very not, like, you know. So I respect all of it. To be honest. And you know, we'll see, dude. We'll see if Geechi goes for, what does he got, like 3 out of 4?
No, there's
3 out of 5, right?
So yeah, so the thing is, it's like in 2019, which was going into 2020, we had a COVID year. So instead of us doing a whole panel, we really only did like pretty much the winner and the runner up. So he won 2019 going into 2020. But there wasn't like a whole top 20. But why you said that, I do want to highlight that there's a couple like people like B Dot. I'm trying to remember everybody, but B Dot, Loso, and Rum Nitty are 3 of the people who have made the top 20 each time we've had a panel. So just to highlight how, you know what I'm saying, like, even like when people say like it doesn't matter if you don't win, I wholeheartedly disagree with that, just because it's like you're showing that you're at the top of the pinnacle in terms of battle rap for, you know, 4 years of us debating it. You know what I'm saying? So there's people out there that have been in that conversation of being the best every time we've had this conversation. I feel like there's a lot of weight in that. So